I work for a top-secret research unit. My boss asked me to deliver a file to Celeste Judd. She's my older sister. The second I walk into her office, this intern named Ethan Irwin gets in my way. You the new assistant? He looks me up and down. Then spots the envelope in my hand. He actually laughs out loud. First day, and you're already trying to kiss up to Miss Judd? Dude, take a good look at yourself. You're pathetic. That's when it hits me. Ethan thinks I'm his competition for Celeste. But here's the thing. Celeste never told me she had a boyfriend. I'm about to explain when his fist slams into my face. I'm the only assistant Miss Judd needs. Forget about being her boyfriend. Ethan grabs my hair and dumps scalding hot water on my face. You're way too young to be a sugar baby chasing rich women. I'll teach you a lesson your parents should have taught you. I curl up on the floor, using my body to protect the envelope. This just makes Ethan more pissed. He rips the file out of my hands and tears it to pieces. Right in front of everyone. Then he says to Celeste, all proud. Miss Judd, your new assistant tried to seduce you. Don't worry. I already took care of him. What a shameless creep, going after Miss Judd when Ethan's right there. He's gonna regret this. He has no idea what's coming. Ethan might be an intern, but his dad's an executive here. Every guy who's tried to get with Miss Judd ended up in the hospital. Everyone's whispering. Ethan stands over me with total contempt in his eyes. Next thing I know, he grabs my hair and yanks me off the ground. The pain in my scalp is so bad. My legs almost give out. Groan. And he punches me in the face before I can even breathe. You're a guy. Why are you making those sounds? Who are you trying to turn on? Listen, Miss Judd's out at a meeting today. Better drop those dirty thoughts, or you'll regret ever coming here. I'm trying to control my anger. I'm about to explain when my phone, which fell on the floor, starts ringing. It's Daniel Wilson, my supervisor. I reach for the phone, but Ethan grabs it first. Puts it on speaker in front of everyone. Daniel's voice comes through. Hey, Ozzy. You there yet? Have you seen Cece? Hearing my sister's nickname, Ethan loses it. He screams into the phone. You stupid, broke old man. How dare you let your son think he can hit on Miss Judd? That nickname is not for losers like you. Daniel's caught off guard. Before he can say anything, Ethan hangs up. What are you waiting for, Ethan? Just kick him out. Look at him. So calculating. Some broke dad probably heard Miss Judd was hiring and wanted his son to marry into money. Ethan's buddy stands there, sizing me up, totally mocking me. I grit my teeth and try to explain through the pain. I'm not here for the assistant job. Before I can finish, a hot drink hits my face. The burning pain from before. This is 10 times worse. It spreads across my whole body. I collapse on the floor, rolling around and clutching my head. Blisters are forming all over my skin. Nobody does anything. They just stand there, laughing. Ethan, you shouldn't have. A wannabe sugar baby like him might play victim in front of Miss Judd later. Seriously, has security at Judd Group always been this lazy? They'll let anyone in. I've got no strength left. I'm curled up on the floor. But I'm holding on to that file like my life depends on it. After 7 years at the research unit, we're finally finishing the project. Celeste used to be Daniel's student. He made it clear I had to get this file into her hands safely. But that's exactly why Ethan notices the envelope. He raises an eyebrow, looking curious, but still hostile. I can tell what he's thinking, and I shake my head. Look at him, Ethan. After all this, he's still holding that stupid envelope. Probably a love letter to Miss Judd. I heard newbies take the shady route nowadays. I even saw online where some interns tried to seduce their bosses, swapping their resumes for sexy photos. That sets Ethan off. He grits his teeth, looking at me like he wants to kill me. You filthy broke loser trying to seduce rich women. I'll teach you a lesson. From now on, you'll think twice before even looking at a woman. Suddenly, someone pulls me off the ground. They each grab an arm, lifting me up. I see Ethan going through a drawer. He walks toward me with a creepy smile, holding a blade. No. I yell. This is all a mistake. I didn't come here to seduce anyone. Right as I say that, Ethan kicks me in the stomach with his pointy leather shoe. I scream, the pain so bad my vision goes black. Cold sweat covers my back like I've been dunked in water. Blood fills my throat and my stomach rebels. I throw up hard. EW. That's disgusting. The two guys holding me jump away. And I collapse on the floor like a beaten up pillow. I'm in too much pain to speak. But Ethan's not done. He jumps on top of me. You shameless sugar baby. You should have done something good with your life. Instead of chasing rich women. I'm gonna be the son-in-law of the Judge family. You're nothing. Grabs my hair, forces my head up and drags the blade across my face. Laughing, I'm only shaving your eyebrows today. Try this again and I'll shave every bit of hair on your head. He's not gentle. The blade cuts my skin and blood starts coming out. By now, I've been tortured so much. I'm barely conscious. An employee laughs. Oh. My God, look at him. Without eyebrows, he looks like a freak. Serves him right. We should strip him. Take photos and put them in the lobby. That'll scare off anyone else trying to hit on Miss Judd. Someone pulls out their phone and points the camera at me. I'm begging them to stop, but Ethan rips my shirt open. Borrows lipstick from a female co-worker. And writes nasty words all over my body. People around me are murmuring. And some turn on their phone flashlights to get better shots. Go to hell. I'm sick of shameless sugar babies like you. As long as Ethan's here, no man's getting to Miss Judd in one piece. Ethan unlocks my phone and opens my contacts. My parents' numbers are at the top. Along with Celeste's. Furious. He grabs a fountain pen from the desk. And stabs it into the back of my hand. The pen goes right through my palm. Blood pours out of the hole. I scream, my face twisting in pain. I can feel the tendons in my hand getting crushed and torn. Ethan picks up the file and tears it to pieces. Throwing the paper in my face. You idiot. I'll teach you what your useless father never did. Keep your hands off what's not yours. His buddies lift me up again. The kick left my body soaked in cold sweat. I hang my head, almost dead. Thinking it's over. But then I hear Ethan tell them to carry me to the company lobby. The receptionist and people walking by stare at the scene. Few curious people ask what's going on. Ethan just snorts, looking at me from head to toe. Just a new assistant who doesn't know his place. He tried to hit on his boss on his first day. So I'm teaching him a lesson. Some people can't just watch. Criticize my methods, but try to reason with Ethan. That's enough. This looks like you're beating up your wife's lover. You guys are co-workers. You've gone way too far. To their surprise, Ethan just laughs. Do you know who I am? He says. My dad's an executive here. And I'm the only man worthy of Miss Judd. Me marrying her is basically set. So, yeah. I am punishing him for my future wife. Nobody says another word. The Judd family is basically untouchable in this city. And Celeste runs it now. What most people don't know is that the Judges also have a son. Who never shows up in public. Back then, Dad wanted to pass the Judd group to me. But I didn't want it. I threw myself into research for the country instead. That's why for 7 whole years. No media ever revealed the Judd family had more than one kid. Ethan obviously has no clue. Seeing more people gather. He looks even more smug. I'm just saying. I'm not the only one who hates people like you. Miss Judd does, too. Try hitting on my fiancé and you're done. In the middle of all this. Ethan's father, Simon Irwin. Here's what's happening and rushes down to the lobby. Seeing me kneeling outside the company entrance. My clothes torn and messy. He doesn't get angry. Instead. He smiles and says, nice job. Ethan. You're already clearing the way before or even joining the Judd family. Once you marry Miss Judd, I'll finally get to share the glory, too. I glare at this father and son pair. A cold smile on my face. Using all my strength. I speak up. In your dreams. After what you did to me today. Don't even think about having anything to do with the Judds. Hearing that, Simon gets so mad he kicks me to the ground. His fat hands keep punching my face. Beats me. Until my eardrum bursts and the corners of my mouth split open. By the time their voices fade, all I can hear is a sharp ringing in my ears. How dare you talk to me like that? Now you're just asking for death. Simon lifts his arm, ready to keep going. But a few men in work clothes come out of the crowd and stop him. Ozzy. I force my eyes open and look around. Daniel's approaching with several colleagues. Seeing what shape I'm in, Daniel and the others gasp. Terrified. Oh. My God. How did they do this to you? This is insane. Don't you know this is illegal? Ethan lets out a short laugh. He walks over to me like he doesn't have a care in the world. Who are you guys? How dare you mess with my business? Scoffs. And don't you know? In this city, the Judge family is the law. And I'm the fiancé of the head of that family. Say another word in his favor, and I'll make sure you and your low-life family go down with him. Everyone's scared, but not Daniel. He watched Celeste grow up, so he knows she'd never marry a guy like this. So he calls her Daisy. Ozzy's being tortured here. You need to come to the office now. Seeing that, Simon grabs his phone and throws it on the ground. The device shatters into pieces. He opens his mouth, mocking us. Who are you trying to fool? Just look at you, all poor and shabby. Which factory did you crawl out of? And you still dare pretend you're close with Miss Judd? Simon snorts, then yells security. Teach these broke punks a lesson. If you don't, starting tomorrow, you can all pack up and get out. Once Simon, the respected executive, speaks, the security guards don't dare hesitate. Gripping their electric batons, they move toward us with hostile looks. Are you crazy? You'll spend the rest of your life in prison if you use those on us. My colleagues shield me fearlessly, staring down the guards. The guards think we're just powerless nobodies. So the lead guard swings the baton across one colleague's face. A horrible scream tears through the air, and he collapses, his face bloody and battered. The corner of his mouth is mangled and his whole body is twitching. Despite that, my other colleagues stand their ground and protect me. Once I'm done teaching you useless trash a lesson, I'll report to Miss Judd that people are out here pretending to know her, using her name to intimidate me. By then, just wait. Your entire family will be kicked out of the city. A few guards lunge at us, grabbing the colleagues shielding me. Daniel rushes forward to stop them, but a blow from the electric baton sends him crashing down. Nasty smell of burnt flesh fills the lobby. Those murderers actually turn the electricity to the highest level. I force myself up while my consciousness is slipping away. But someone grabs my neck from behind, then stands in front of me with an evil smile. You seeing this broke ass, you? Your father and your loser colleagues are nothing against me. I can crush them as easily as I crush you. I grit my teeth, glaring at him with total defiance. My vision swimming with blood. I try to break free, but end up getting hit with the electric baton. I collapse to the ground like a deflated balloon. I've lost so much blood, I have no strength left. My vision's blurring, my breathing's weak. Suddenly there's a commotion in the crowd. Celeste pushes through the people, her face dark with anger and worry. Ethan follows everyone's gaze. Instantly, the vicious look on his face disappears, replaced by a bright, sucking up smile. Miss Judd, you're finally back. This shameless guy was trying to hit on you. I already taught him a good lesson for you. The silence that followed Ethan's declaration was heavy, suffocating. It wasn't the silence of respect, it was the silence of a holding breath before a crash. Ethan stood there, chest puffed out, pointing a trembling finger at my broken body. He expected a smile. He expected Celeste to thank him for taking out the trash. Celeste didn't move. Her eyes, usually sharp and calculating, were wide, fixed on the bloody heap on the floor that was me. She didn't even look at Ethan. She looked through him. Miss Judd? Ethan asked, his confidence wavering slightly. Did you hear me? This trash. Don't, Celeste whispered. It was a sound so low it barely carried, but in the dead quiet of the lobby, it sounded like a gunshot. She took a step forward. Then another. Then she was running. She dropped to her knees, heedless of her white designer suit hitting the blood-stained marble. Her hands hovered over me, shaking, terrified to touch where the skin was torn and burned. Ozzy, she choked out. Her voice broke, shattering the image of the Iron CEO. Ozzy, look at me. Open your eyes. I tried. I really did. But the blood from my forehead had crusted over my eyelids. So. Cece. I rasped. Ethan let out a confused, nervous laugh. Miss Judd, why are you touching him? He's filthy. He's a stalker. He even had your private number. Celeste turned. I had never seen my sister look like a demon before. She slowly stood up, her movements fluid and deadly. She turned to face Ethan Irwin, her eyes devoid of humanity. You, she said. Ethan swallowed. Yes, Miss Judd. I was just explaining that. Crack. The sound echoed off the high vaulted ceilings. Celeste didn't slap him with an open palm. She backhanded him with a closed fist, the rings on her fingers tearing into his cheek. Ethan stumbled back, clutching his face, shock replacing his arrogance. You think? Celeste's voice rose, vibrating with pure, unadulterated rage. You think you can touch him? He's just an assistant. Simon Irwin stepped in, sweating profusely now, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Miss Judd, surely my son made a mistake, but this boy attacked him first. We were protecting your honor. My honor? Celeste laughed. It was a terrifying, jagged sound. She pointed a blood-stained finger at me. That boy, that filthy stalker, is Oswald Judd. The name hung in the air. The receptionists gasped. The security guards who had beaten Daniel dropped their batons. Simon's face went gray. Judd? But, no. You're the only heir. The media said. We kept him secret to protect him from parasites like you, Celeste hissed. He is my younger brother. He is the true heir to half of this empire. And you. She looked at Ethan, who was trembling so hard his knees knocked together. You just tortured the most important person in my life. The ambulance arrived 3 minutes later, likely breaking every traffic law in the city. The paramedics had to peel me off the floor. Every movement sent spikes of agony through my crushed hand and burned skin. As they lifted me onto the stretcher, I saw Daniel being loaded onto another. He gave me a weak thumbs up before passing out. Wait. I grabbed Celeste's sleeve with my good hand. My voice was a wet gurgle. The file, the pieces. Celeste leaned in close, tears streaming down her face, ruining her makeup. Shoo, Ozzy. Forget the file. No. I coughed, tasting copper. Classified. Project. Helios. Only copy. Ethan, he tore it. Celeste went still. She looked at the confetti of paper scattered across the lobby floor, the paper Ethan had gleefully ripped apart, the paper soaked in my blood and the spilled coffee. She looked at the head of security, a man who hadn't participated in the beating and looked ready to vomit. Seal the building, she ordered, her voice ice cold. Nobody leaves. If a single scrap of paper goes missing, I will bury you all. She turned back to Simon and Ethan Irwin. They were trying to inch toward the exit. Arrest them, she told the police officers rushing through the doors. Attempted murder. Aggravated assault. And. She looked at the torn documents. Espionage against the state. Ethan screamed as he was cuffed. I'm your fiancé. You can't do this. Dad, tell them. Simon Irwin was too busy vomiting on his expensive shoes to answer. I spent 3 days in the ICU. The burns were second degree, covering my chest and neck. My left hand, the hand Ethan had stabbed with the fountain pen, required 2 surgeries to reconnect the tendons. The doctors said I'd have scars, but I'd keep the hand. The eyebrows, well, they'd grow back. The lipstick had been scrubbed off by a crying nurse who kept apologizing as if she had been the one to put it on. When I woke up properly on the 4th day, Celeste was sitting in the uncomfortable plastic chair, reading a tablet. She looked like she hadn't slept in 96 hours. Hey, I croaked. She dropped the tablet. Ozzy. She was at my side in a second, gripping my shoulder gently. Don't try to move. You look like a mummy. How's Daniel? Concussion, 3 broken ribs. He's furious he couldn't protect you. I told him he's getting a raise and a paid vacation for life. I nodded, relieved. Then the anxiety hit. The file, Cece. It was the encryption key for the fusion reactor prototype. 7 years of work. If we lost it. Celeste's expression darkened. About that. We recovered 90% of the scraps. But the ink ran because of the coffee. And the blood. I closed my eyes. I need a laptop. You need rest. I need a laptop, Celeste. I can reconstruct the missing sequences from memory, but I have to do it now before the painkillers wipe my short-term recall. She argued, but she knew me. 10 minutes later, I was typing with one hand, my brain fighting through the fog of morphine. It took 4 hours. When I hit enter, and the simulation verified the code, I finally passed out again. While I was recovering, the Irwins were busy digging their own graves, but they were trying to drag me down with them. Simon Irwin hired the most expensive legal team in the state. Their strategy? Victim blaming. They leaked the photos, the ones Ethan sycophants took of me without eyebrows, covered in slurs written in lipstick. Headline, Secret Judd heir or pervert. In turn claims self-defense against harassment. They tried to spin the narrative that I had aggressively propositioned Ethan, that I was mentally unstable, and that the beating was a fight that got out of hand. I watched the news from my hospital bed, numbness spreading in my chest. They're really going with this? Celeste was peeling an apple with a knife that looked dangerously sharp. Let them play their cards. They don't know who we called. Who? Your boss. The general. The research unit I worked for wasn't just corporate. It was a joint military scientific division. I was a civilian asset, but the project was classified top secret. The next day, the narrative shifted violently. It wasn't a press release from the Judd Group. It was a statement from the Department of Defense. They didn't confirm what the project was, but they confirmed that Ethan Irwin and Simon Irwin had destroyed government property and assaulted a federal clearance holder. The charges were upgraded. Treason. Domestic terrorism. Sabotage. The self-defense plea evaporated instantly. 2 weeks later, I insisted on attending the preliminary hearing. I was in a wheelchair, my hand heavily bandaged, my face still bruising yellow and purple. I wore a beanie to cover my shaved brows and hair. When they wheeled me into the courtroom, the silence was absolute. Ethan looked terrible. Prison blues didn't suit him. He looked smaller, his arrogance stripped away, leaving only a shivering, pathetic boy. Simon looked aged, his hair graying rapidly. When Ethan saw me, he flinched. I didn't say anything. I just watched him. His lawyer tried to argue for bail. My client is a young man with a bright future, prone to emotional outbursts due to the stress of his internship. The prosecutor stood up. He played the security footage. The court watched in high definition as Ethan dumped boiling water on me. They heard the crunch of the kick to my stomach. They heard him laughing as he carved into my face with the razor. They heard the sickening thwack of the pen going through my hand. The audio was crisp. I'm gonna be the son-in-law of the Judd family. You're nothing. Celeste, sitting in the front row, stared at the screen with a face of stone. When the video ended, the judge looked like he wanted to vomit. Ethan stood up, rattling his chains. It's fake. That video is doctored. Miss Judd, tell them. Tell them we're engaged. Celeste stood up slowly. She walked to the railing. Your Honor, she said, her voice clear. I have never spoken to this man socially in my life. The only time I acknowledged his existence was when I signed his termination papers. Liar. Ethan screamed, lunging forward before bailiffs tackled him. You want me? You're just playing hard to get. I did this for you. You did this, I spoke up, my voice raspy but amplified by the microphone, because you are a small, insecure man who needs to hurt others to feel big. Ethan stopped struggling. He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time. You destroyed my hand, I said, lifting the bandaged limb. You tried to destroy my dignity. You destroyed years of research. But you know the funniest part, Ethan? The courtroom held its breath. You were right about one thing. Security at the Judd Group was lazy. Thanks for helping us fix that. The trial was swift. The evidence was overwhelming. Simon Irwin was found guilty of embezzlement, discovered during the investigation, assault, and conspiracy. He was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. All his assets were seized to pay for damages and restitution. Ethan Irwin faced a harder hammer. Kidnapping, torture, assault with a deadly weapon, destruction of classified materials. The judge gave him 40 years. But the sweetest justice wasn't the prison time. It was the social erasure. The Irwin name became a curse in the city. Their mansion was sold to pay legal fees. Ethan's friends, the ones who held me down, the ones who took photos, were all identified. They were expelled from their universities, fired from their jobs, and blacklisted from every major corporation in the country. The security guards who beat Daniel? 3 years in prison each for assault with a deadly weapon. I stood in front of the mirror in the office restroom. My eyebrows had grown back, though there was a thin white scar cutting through the left one. My hands still stiffened up when it rained, and I couldn't play the piano anymore, but I could type. I could work. I adjusted my tie. I wasn't the shabby assistant anymore. I walked out into the lobby. The same lobby where I had bled out on the floor. It looked different now. The security team was new, ex-military, professional, unsmiling. They nodded respectfully as I passed. Mr. Judd, the receptionist said, smiling. Your sister is waiting for you in boardroom A. I took the elevator up. When I walked in, the board members stood up. Daniel was there, too. He walked with a slight limp now, but he looked healthy. He winked at me. Ladies and gentlemen, Celeste announced, gesturing to me. I believe you all know the director of our new R&D division. I walked to the head of the table. I placed a thick file on the mahogany surface. It was the completed, printed, bound copy of Project Helios. The prototype is functional, I said. Clean energy. Infinite scale. We finished it. The room erupted in applause. Celeste walked over and hugged me. Mom and Dad would be proud. I know, I whispered. Later that evening, as we left the building, I saw a familiar figure cleaning the sidewalk across the street. It was one of the guys who had held me down while Ethan cut me. He was wearing a janitor's uniform, looking miserable. He looked up, saw me in my suit, standing next to Celeste. He froze. Fear flashed in his eyes. He dropped his broom and scurried away into the alley. I didn't chase him. I didn't laugh. I just got into the car. You okay? Celeste asked as the driver pulled away. I looked at my scarred hand. It was ugly, but it was strong. It had held onto the file when everything else was falling apart. Yeah, I said, watching the city lights blur past. I'm the only assistant you ever needed, right? Celeste laughed, a genuine, warm sound that erased the memory of that terrible day. Assistant? Please. You're the boss now, Ozzy. And for the first time in a long time, I believed her.